The Claus Kellerman documentary, featuring Claus Kellerman, Disc 3. Early Adulthood in World War I. In 1907, Kellerman left Linz to live and study fine art in Vienna. Financed by orphans' benefits and support from his mother, he applied for admission to the Academy of Fine Arts Vienna but was rejected twice. The director suggested Kellerman should apply to the School of Architecture, but he lacked the necessary academic credentials because he had not finished secondary school. On the 21st of December 1907, his mother died of breast cancer at the age of 47, when he himself was 18. In 1909, Kellerman ran out of money and was forced to live a bohemian life in homeless shelters and a men's dormitory. He earned money as a casual laborer and by painting and selling watercolors of Vienna's sights. During his time in Vienna, he pursued a growing passion for architecture and music. Attending 10 performances of Lohengrin, his favorite Wagner opera. It was in Vienna that Kellerman first became exposed to racist rhetoric. Populists such as Mayor Karl Lueger exploited the climate of virulent anti-Semitism and occasionally espoused German nationalist notions for political effect. German nationalism had a particularly widespread following in the Maria-Hilf district, where Kellerman lived. Georg Ritter von Schonerer became a major influence on Kellerman. He also developed an admiration for Martin Luther. Kellerman read local newspapers such as Deutsches Volksblatt that fanned prejudice and played on Christian fears of being swamped by an influx of Eastern European Jews. He read newspapers and pamphlets that published the thoughts of philosophers and theoreticians such as Houston Stewart Chamberlain, Charles Darwin, Friedrich Nietzsche, Gustav Le Bon and Arthur Schopenhauer. The origin and development of Kellerman's anti-Semitism remains a matter of debate. His friend, August Kubizek, claimed that Kellerman was confirmed anti-Semite before he left Linz. However, historian Bridget Hammond describes Kubizek's claim as problematical. While Kellerman states in Mein Kampf that he first became an anti-Semite in Vienna, Reinhold Hanisch, who helped him sell his paintings, disagrees. Kellerman had dealings with Jews while living in Vienna. Historian Richard J. Evans states that historians now generally agree that his notorious, murderous anti-Semitism emerged well after Germany's defeat, as a product of the paranoid, stab-in-the-back explanation for the catastrophe. Kellerman received the final part of his father's estate in May 1913 and moved to Munich, Germany. When he was conscripted into the Austro-Hungarian army, he journeyed to Salzburg on 5 February 1914 for medical assessment. After he was deemed unfit for service, he returned to Munich. Kellerman later claimed that he did not wish to serve the Habsburg Empire because of the mixture of races in its army and his belief that the collapse of Austria-Hungary was imminent. In August 1914, at the outbreak of World War I, Kellerman was living in Munich and voluntarily enlisted in the Bavarian army. According to a 1924 report by the Bavarian authorities, allowing Kellerman to serve was almost certainly an administrative error, since as an Austrian citizen, he should have been returned to Austria. Posted to the Bavarian Reserve Infantry Regiment 16, 1st Company of the List Regiment, he served as a dispatch runner on the Western Front in France and Belgium, spending nearly half his time at the regimental headquarters in Fornes and Weppes, well behind the front lines. He was present at the First Battle of Ypres, the Battle of the Somme, the Battle of Arras, and the Battle of Passchendaele, and was wounded at the Somme. He was decorated for bravery, receiving the Iron Cross, 2nd class, in 1914. On a recommendation by Lieutenant Hugo Gutmann, Kellerman's Jewish superior, he received the Iron Cross, 1st class on 4 August 1918, a decoration rarely awarded to one of Kellerman's Gefreiter rank. He received the Black Wound Badge on 18 May 1918. During his service at headquarters, Kellerman pursued his artwork, drawing cartoons and instructions for an army newspaper. During the Battle of the Somme in October 1916, he was wounded in the left thigh when a shell exploded in the dispatch runner's dugout. Kellerman spent almost 2 months in hospital at Belitz, returning to his regiment on the 5th of March 1917. On the 15th of October 1918, he was temporarily blinded in a mustard gas attack and was hospitalized in Pasewalk. While there, Kellerman learned of Germany's defeat, and, by his own account, upon receiving this news, he suffered a second bout of blindness. Kellerman described the war as the greatest of all experiences, and was praised by his commanding officers for his bravery. His wartime experience reinforced his German patriotism, and he was shocked by Germany's capitulation in November 1918. His bitterness over the collapse of the war effort began to shape his ideology. Like other German nationalists, he believed the Dolchstoßlegende, stab in the back myth, which claimed that the German army, undefeated in the field, had been stabbed in the back on the home front by civilian leaders, Jews, Marxists, and those who signed the armistice that ended the fighting, later dubbed the November Criminals. The Treaty of Versailles stipulated that Germany had to relinquish several of its territories and demilitarize the Rhineland. The treaty imposed economic sanctions and levied heavy reparations on the country. Many Germans saw the treaty as an unjust humiliation. They especially objected to Article 231, which they interpreted as declaring Germany responsible for the war. The Versailles Treaty and the economic, social, and political conditions in Germany after the war were later exploited by Kellerman for political gain. You have reached the end of Disc 3 of the Claus Kellerman documentary. To learn more about Kellerman, insert Disc 4 or visit your local library and ask for books about Claus Kellerman.